Hello, everyone. This is Dean Buchek of the Magic at Dinner podcast with episode 6, which is part 2 of my awesome conversation with Washington Magic's Eric Henning. Eric is a 50-year veteran of performing magic, public speaking, radio, TV broadcasting, you name it. He's done it. We are going to continue our chat today about starting a dinner theater show, how COVID-19 affects that, and hopefully toward the end I can squeeze a Eugene Burger story out of him. He's got a few, he says. Here he is once again, Eric Henning. Hi, Eric. Welcome back.
Hey, it's great to be back. Thanks, Dean.
Well, it's been a few weeks since we spoke, and our country went from fighting an currently incurable super virus to fighting police brutality. Thankfully, old guys like us, our looting and rioting days are far behind us. So
speak for yourself, buddy.
Okay, well, mine are arthritis and whatnot. So, but so we don't have to. We're gonna stick to magic mostly today. Last time we ended, we were talking about the virtual magic shows that Washington Magic were just about to start, and I had watched that first one, really enjoyed it. And how's that going, and where's it going from here?
Well, it went really well. We almost broke the internet. We had a lot of viewers, and it was interesting because even though the show was pre-recorded, we had each performer pre-record a promo and a routine, and then our wonderful video guy, Mike Noonan, put it all together. And it really, a lot of the people, I think the majority of the viewers thought it was live, thought it was on, but it was much more polished than a typical live Zoom experience.
It did seem like it. It seemed like you guys were kind of live handing it back and forth to each other, like some of the things I've seen, magic and non-magic. So it absolutely had that feel to it. And
the next one, which is Friday, June 19th, we're going to try to make it look even more live and be even more. We've learned a few things. This is the thing that's important. You see, everybody, the perfect is the enemy of the good. My wife had a wonderful saying. She said, do it now, use what you have. And so I kind of, even earlier this week, I was kind of paralyzed about doing some of this stuff and working on Zoom shows. And I decided to jump in, and I took my number one student and I, Chris Bowers, and I have agreed now every weekday we're doing a 1-hour Zoom session at 11 a.m. Eastern time. And we're just showing each other 3 routines and brutalizing each other. We're just, because we've known, I've been working with him for 25 years. We know each other really well, and we can do that. And so it's just one, between the second and third session we did, he leapt forward. It was amazing. He realized he needed a better camera, needed better lights. He watched a couple of the Paul Draper downloads, and all of a sudden realized you can't do card tricks from 6 feet away from the camera because they're just a blob. And so all of these things, you learn it by doing. So if somebody's out there scared of this whole technology, just get on it, get on Zoom, start a meeting by yourself and record it and just play. Do some tricks, do stuff, get used to figure out how the camera works. Highly recommend for Zoom that you use the webcam on a laptop or a better webcam like an HD webcam attached to your laptop rather than using your phone. Zoom has some limitations that even the best smartphones can't overcome. So I would really encourage, not the least of which is that what you see on the phone is only part of the screen that the people are seeing. So you might think that you're doing something sneaky off screen and everybody can see it. That's bad for magic. So what you want to do is really use your laptop and use the webcam. And that is the virtue of letting you see yourself. And then here's a little tip I got from Jeff McBride is you get a pair of those little finger eye puppets, the little plastic U-shaped thing with an eye on each end, and you stick your fingers in it and it makes a hand puppet. You tape that with gaffer's tape. You tape that right next to the camera port on your laptop to remind you where to look. So you don't look, and if you kind of step back and soft focus, you can look at the screen and the camera at the same time. But it just looks weird if you're looking at yourself on the screen rather than the camera. If you look at the camera, see, because what Zoom does is it offers an intimate video experience in the way that radio offers an intimate audio experience. People can feel, if you do it right, people will feel like you're talking directly to them. And that's powerful. And that actually can make magic better. I know a lot of people are like, well, nothing's going to take the place of live performance, live in person. That's true. But live on camera is pretty darn good. And there's stuff you can do on camera that you cannot get away with. You can get away with a lot of gaffes, especially with cards, but you can't get away with in real life because nobody's going to be grabbing at the cards. So there's a lot of things that you can do. All those old, tricks that looked really good online, that the video demo was impressive, but you realize you can't do it in the real world. Well, you can do all those on Zoom. You can do all those online, and that's great. And again, let me make the distinction between video and live, because what we're doing with Washington Magic right now is we're doing video shows. We're doing live, basically taping and assembling a show that kind of looks like it's live, but it's more polished, because that's kind of our selling proposition. We're trying to be the class of the Magic dinner shows, and in truth, entertainment in DC. So we want it to have. In fact, we have an intro, a piece of music that a classical music that we use, and I managed to go to a wonderful website called museon.org, 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 which is a nonprofit, and they have sheet music and recordings, mostly classical music, that are completely copyright and royalty free. And so you can download them for unlimited use with a $55 subscription a year, $55 a year, which is fantastic. So we got a piece of Mozart that we can use for our intro. And what we discovered in the first show that we did was that if you're on Facebook, because we were online and then we were simultaneously streaming on Facebook. If you're on Facebook or YouTube and you play a copyrighted piece of music, they will simply mute that entire portion of the show in real time. They have AI bots that do it. It's in real time. So all of a sudden it's like, whoa, that's not good.
Yeah, I've been on lives like that and watching, and then I start to hear the music and I go, oh, I know what's coming, and then bam, there it goes.
So for magicians, so for you and me on trying to perform online, if we're going to use a platform like YouTube or Facebook, and we probably do want to do that, or at least use a different platform and stream onto Facebook, that way you own your own content, then you got to make sure that all the music you're using is copyright free. It's very important. And even then, that's no guarantee, because, and I'm not talking about the music itself. Remember, every piece of music has two copyrights. There's a copyright on the written piece of music, that's called the publishing rights. And there's a copyright on the recording itself, which is the mechanical rights. Okay? Those are two copyrights. So you might say, oh, I've got this piece of Beethoven on a record, so it's in the public domain because it's Beethoven. No. The music is, the recording is not. Unless the recording was made before like 1940, it's not in the public domain. But museon.org has a lot of these recordings, and they've made their own recordings. And so you can get some of this stuff. A lot of Beethoven, a lot of Mozart, a lot of very familiar pieces. And if you want something else that really suits you perfectly, do what Jeff McBride and Hans Klock and Franz Harari and David Copperfield do. Get music written for you. It's not that expensive, and you'll use it forever. And again, if you're not there yet, there are lots of other resources. Kevin MacLeod is a composer for film and gaming, has a site called incompetech.com. We may have mentioned this before, I don't remember. But royalty-free music is going to be really important for online shows. And again, you can do video, and this is where you want to use your phone. You make video on your phone, and then you tweak it, and you edit it, and you put the nice copyright-free music bed underneath it, and that's your promo. And you can drop those. They don't have to be fancy. In fact, something that looks even kind of amateurish in your kitchen is going to get, believe it or not, probably do better in terms of eyeballs and views and things than something that's super polished. So you can do the casual promo. Hi, I'm going to do a really neat show later, but let me just show you something really quick here at the kitchen table. That's kind of cool, because the internet, the audiences that are watching this stuff value authenticity and genuineness, and that's how it comes off. Look at what Rick Lack is doing. Look at what Justin Flom is doing, all those guys. Xavier Mortimer. There's a lot of these guys that are doing stuff every single day.
Those are the three biggies. I follow them, and I love their stuff. I really do.
Flom is my favorite.
Yeah,
Rick's
I like
been
him.
doing it for a long time, but Flom is really good. And Flom also does things where even if he's not doing his own content every day, he's sharing something that somebody else did that he thinks is cool.
Right.
So
Shin Lim does that too. Yeah.
Right. So Shin Lim does that. So whenever you see that name, you're like, oh, well, this is probably going to be good. And they just want your eyeballs for at least 30 seconds. So Whether it's somebody making flammable bubbles or some pretending to be, crushed inside a box or whatever. And some of these are not even magic tricks. They're like, chemistry experiments or things your science teacher would do, or puzzles or whatever. It doesn't matter. So that's the kind of stuff that you can do on social media and do promos. So we distinguish videotaped promos, no matter how rough they are, from a video show or a live show. And they're different animals. They're completely different animals. You have to practice both. It's like the difference between close-up magic and stage magic. But the beauty of the Zoom shows is that you can really do close-up magic. I close every show with a trick that I do with bubbles, and it's become my signature piece. Everybody knows it. And I do it on Parlor. I do it on stage. I mean, it's great. I tell you what, it really sings on Zoom because the bubbles are coming right at the camera, and it's amazing. So that is like the ideal, and I never would have known this if this hadn't come along. That is the ideal place to do this piece, and it leaves a very strong impression. I'm currently working on some new stuff. And if you're scared, if you're a magician, you're scared of this whole thing, or you're not sure, you're just going to sit around stubbornly collecting zero money and waiting for live shows to come back, I got news for you. Live shows are going to come back, but the audiences are going to realize that it's easier and cheaper to do a virtual show on Zoom. And so there's going to be, I'm guessing that at least 40 to 50% of what we used to do for live shows is going to end up online. This is not going away. Even after the coronavirus, this is not going away. You have to know how to do this stuff or you're going to starve. It's as simple as that.
And I purchased the Paul Draper video from
great.
The one about doing this. I know he has two out there, but I did the one about, getting a Zoom broadcast going, and it was only about a half hour, but it was all meat. There was no frosting there.
Yeah.
And after it was over, I recommend it, if only because you'll watch it and you'll say, I think I could do this. I think he covered everything I need here in a half hour.
That's right. Well, Ben Franklin had a great saying, well begun is half done. Look, this is the perfect time to do stuff and not be good at it. But you got to put in the hours to get good. Look at network TV. Watch the Today Show. Everybody's looking like an amateur right now. In 6 months, they're going to have it down and they're going to all look like pros. But right now, we have a window where everybody looks stupid online. And so it doesn't matter how great you look, and you can do it. But I wouldn't be charging for shows until you've got enough hours in. And let me suggest something. This is really interesting. I told you that my student, Chris Bowers, and I are doing an hour a day. There's a magician named Joseph Fitzer in Germany. He's a wonderful storytelling magician. And he set himself a task of doing 150 one-on-one 20-minute Zoom shows with other magicians and friends of his who are not magicians, just to practice and get the flight time in before he starts charging. I think that's a great idea. Make a list, and I've already done this. Make a list of all your friends that you think would sit for 20 minutes with you and then another 10 minutes to give you feedback. You ask for half an hour of their time and say, look, I'm working on some material. I want to test it out before I start going to the public with it or charging for it. I value your opinion. Those are powerful words. I value your opinion. Would you help me? And most people will say yes. Do 50 or 100 of those, and you'll be very confident. Then you'll put up your website. You'll start charging for these.
Yeah, the first time I saw a Mike Amar lecture was in Champaign, Illinois. It was around 1988 or 89, and I remember to this day when he said, "Everybody needs a place to be bad."
Yes, and you can be bad in private with one-on-one shows, or you can be bad in public, and it's actually not that bad to be bad in public right now. This is a gift, folks. This is an opportunity to learn a whole new medium, and there's no penalty for getting it wrong. You're not going to, because everybody's getting it wrong at the moment. So we have a window. So use this time to build up your knowledge, because we will all have to become knowledgeable about this. We will all have to be TV producers. We'll all have to know how to do magic online, because you're going to get agents and you're going to get clients that are going to request it. And if you can't do it, you're going to lose the business. It's as simple as that. It's not going to be, but again, how great is this? You can do 5 birthday shows in a day, and maybe you're only charging $200 instead of $350. But if you're doing 5 a day, that's $1,000 a day. You do that just on the weekends. That's